Hello everyone, hello students. Myself Dr. Deepak Kuche, working as Professor, Department of Botany, Sri Shivaji College of Arts, Commerce and Science, Akola, Maharashtra. I am here welcoming you all in the video lecture presentation series on plant ecology, and today's is 9th lecture in this series, and the title is Adaptation in Hydrophytes. Now hydrophytes, these are the water plants, the plants which are growing in the watery condition, they are called as the hydrophytes or aquatic plants. Now we are going to see how these plants are adapted to the excess of water. Okay. Hydrophytes are the plants, they are living in the watery conditions. Okay. For living in the watery conditions, they have to do certain modifications, and these modifications later on get adopted in those plants, and that become the adaptations. Okay, mostly it has been observed that most of the aquatic plants or the plants growing in watery condition, they has poorly developed root system. Okay, they also shows a variety of leaves. Some plants shows larger leaves, some plants shows dissected leaves. So, and in all these conditions, those leaves are supporting that particular plant to live in that particular specific aquatic condition. Now how, that we will see, but first of all we will go for the classification of the aquatic plants. So aquatic plants are generally classified into different groups according to their unique features. Now the first group is free floating aquatic plants. So these plants float freely and independently on the water surface. For example, Eichhornia is there, Lemna is there, Pistia is there. So these are the examples of free floating hydrophytes. The next group is floating and possessing roots. These plants float on the water surface, but they also possess the roots, and they, with those roots, they get attached to the bottom of that particular water body. For example, Nymphaea is there and Trappa is there. Again, submerged hydrophytes, another group. So these plants occur below the water surface mostly. Okay, but they do not attach themselves to the bottom of that particular water body. For example, Ceratophyllum and Najas. Next group is submerged and possessing roots. Now these particular hydrophytes, they occur generally below the water surface and also remain attached to the bottom of the water reservoir. For example, Hydrilla is there, Vallisneria is there. Then another one, amphibious and possessing roots. So these are the plants generally growing in the waterlogged area. For example, Polygonum is there, Marshallia is there. It generally grow in the marshy or the places which are waterlogged. Then another one, emergent and possessing roots. So these plants grow in the shallow water and remain attached to the bottom. A part of these plants is submerged and another is the aerial part. For example, Cypress is there, Typha is there. These are the examples of the emergent and possessing roots hydrophytes. Now these hydrophytes or the plants which are growing or which are having the water as habitat, they show certain morphological, anatomical and physiological adaptations. Now how, that we will see. In case of the roots, in hydrophytes, the roots do not play a prime important role in water absorption. Okay, as roots are either completely absent, for example in Ceratophyllum, or poorly developed. Okay, root packets are present instead of the root caps in case of the Eichhornia and Lemna and Pistia. Some plants develop floating roots in addition to the normal adventitious roots. For example, Juicea repens. Okay, now why they are poorly developed? Now you can imagine that the entire plant, or at least most of the plant parts they are inside the water, sir. Okay, now as all the entire body can take water directly, so what is the need of development of root is there? Therefore roots are poorly developed in case of the hydrophytes. Next one, stem. The stem of the hydrophytes show some unique features. For example, most of the hydrophytes, the stem is long, slender, spongy and delicate. For example, Hydrilla and Potamogeton. The second feature is that the stem may float horizontally on water surface, for example as in Azolla, or may be thick, short and stoloniferous as in Eichhornia. It may be attached to the bottom of the pond by a rhizome, for example a Nymphea. Okay, so these are the features. The another one, what are the unique features of the petiole of these hydrophytes? The petioles has special modifications to suit the aquatic conditions. Okay, generally the petioles are long, slender and delicate. They are present in hydrophytes with their leaves floating on water surface. For example, Nymphea. You can see the petiole and attached leaf of Nymphea. In some plants, petiole is swollen to form a bulb-like structure to help the plants to float on the water surface, as in Eichhornia. So every portion like root, stem are sometimes delicate, so for that it will help in vegetative propagation or fragmentation. Petiole, they are also helping the plants to survive or float on the water surface. Then coming towards the leaf, most important part, they are also showing certain unique features. In submerged hydrophytes, the leaves are thin, long and in the shape of ribbon, particularly in the in case of the Vallisneria is there, and finely dissected as in case of the Ceratophyllum. Floating leaves are large, entire and flat as in case of the Nymphea, that we will see. So we had already seen. These leaves have a waxy coating. Okay, the leaves of emergent and amphibious hydrophytes are heterophyllous, that means the leaves below the water they are long, narrow and dissected, while those above the water they are entire and broad. Okay, this is also termed as the dimorphism. इस तरह का जो दो अलग अलग तरह के लीफ होते हैं एक ही प्लांट को, उसको क्या बोलते हैं? डायमॉर्फिज्म. ओके, हेटेरोफिली or heterophyly is also shown in plants such as Ranunculus, Limnophila, Heterophila, Sagittaria, Sagittarifolia, etc. Okay, now we will see certain examples. In anatomy of hydrophytes, what we will see, what generally hydrophytes show in their anatomy, that we will see. So generally all hydrophytes show presence of large air chambers. The tissues that forms the air chambers are called as the parenchyma. Okay, the unique feature of all hydrophyte is that they are having air chambers or parenchyma. Mechanical tissue, for example sclerenchyma, is either poorly developed or absent. Vascular tissue, particularly xylem, is poorly developed. Okay, why xylem is poorly developed? Because water is conducted through every part of that particular plant. Okay, so there is no need of to highly developed xylem, so that it is poorly developed. Cuticle is absent. Now what is the function of cuticle? It protect the water loss mostly. Now as the plant is already in the water, there is no need to develop the that much amount of cuticle. Stomata are either absent or submerged in hydrophytes. Okay, now coming towards one of the example, anatomy of the Eichhornia petiole. So the transverse section of the Eichhornia petiole shows the following feature. The epidermis is single layered. Now see, epidermis is single layered where the cuticle is absent. There is no need of cuticle. Okay, therefore cuticle is absent. Epidermis is single layered. Hypodermis, it is parenchymatous. It is present below the epidermis Okay, parenchyma, it remain the remaining part of the ground tissues or the cortex, you can say it is called as the parenchyma. Okay, it is mainly having the air chambers or lacunae, and the size of the air chambers gradually increases toward the center. Okay, vascular tissues, there are numerous vascular bundles present here and there between the air chambers. The distinct parenchymatous envelope surrounding each vascular bundle is found. Phloem occurs in the peripheral region, while the central region is occupied by the xylem element. But again, the xylem is found to be very less developed. Hydrophytic character that it is showing is that the presence of thin-walled epidermis, absence of cuticle, absence of mechanical tissues, presence of large parenchyma, okay, or air chambers, and the phloem is distinct and the xylem is a little bit developed. Now here you can find it out. Epidermis poorly developed, sclerenchyma poorly developed, air chambers, these are the air chambers. Okay, these are the vascular bundles. Okay, so these are the features of Eichhornia petiole. Now the another example is the hydrilla stem. We will see what hydrophytic features the hydrilla stem shows. So the outermost layer is the epidermis, which is single layered mostly, and the cuticle is absent. Again, the cortex is mainly parenchymatous, that is parenchymatous tissues having air chambers, that is parenchymatous. The air chambers towards the periphery are larger than those which are present in the middle of the cortex. Endodermis and pericycle, if it is present, it is not distinct. Vascular bundle, it has the more amount of phloem and a centrally located xylem cavity is found. And the hydrophytic features that it is showing, it is thin-walled epidermis, again absence of cuticle, presence of air chambers, vascular tissues are poorly developed, and the amount of phloem is more than that of the xylem. Okay, now you can see that what exactly hydrophytes are showing to us. The first important thing in morphology, first one, roots are poorly developed. Second one, stem are having varied type depending on, sometimes it is delicate, thin, helping by fragmentation in multiplication of the plant or reproduction of that particular plant. Okay, petioles and leaves, they are helping that particular plant to survive in the watery condition. Then coming towards the anatomy, is that the parts, particularly petioles and stems, and also the leaves, they are having the thin epidermis, parenchymatous, thin-walled epidermis, absence of cuticle, presence of air chambers, vascular tissues are poorly developed, and mostly the phloem is more in amount as compared to the xylem. Okay, so these things, these unique features are found in hydrophytes. Okay, hope you understood the concept of adaptations shown by the hydrophytic plants. You can comment me whether you had liked this lecture or not. If you want any additional information, then also you can write. We will again meet in the next lecture very soon. Thank you very much.